Again, another individual who we brought with us to Washington, D.C. was Gary Blankenship, who is the president of the Houston Police Officers Union. As we heard earlier, Sergeant Jocelyn Johnson spoke about the murder of her husband, Officer Rodney Johnson. The second police officer, or the last police officer besides Rodney Johnson, who was murdered in the city of Houston, again was killed at the hands of an illegal alien in a drunk driving accident.
Wow.
Gary will speak a little bit about the impact of what criminal illegal alien activity in his city has meant. Let's listen to his testimony now.
Let's take a look.
My name is Gary Blankenship. I'm the president of the Houston Police Officers Union. I've been with the department for 27 years as a senior police officer. I'm here today for several reasons. My organization has teamed up with 9/11 Families for a Secure America. We're here to support the families of Officer Rodney Johnson, Officer Gary Grider, who were killed in the line of duty by suspects who were in our country illegally. Gary Grider and Rodney Johnson were both members of my board of directors at the Houston Police Officers Union and the last two Houston police officers killed in the line of duty. To outline what our department has implemented to deal with suspects whom we take into custody who do not have proper identification that determine their citizenship and related status, and to hear from members of Congress what they are doing to secure our borders and fund state and local government efforts to eradicate our nation of criminals who have no legal right to be here in the first place. As you may already know, the last two Houston police officers were killed in the line of duty were Officer Rodney Johnson and Officer Gary Grider. Officer Johnson was shot and killed after taking an illegal alien into custody during a traffic stop. Officer Johnson had stopped a large white pickup truck occupied by two men and two children on Randolph at Braniff Street, just south of Hobby Airport, at about 5:30 p.m. He placed the male driver under arrest, and he was unable to produce a driver's license, speeding, and had open containers of alcohol in the car, along with children. After handcuffing the male, he placed him in the backseat of the patrol car, then returned to the driver's seat. The subject in the backseat was able to move his hands to the front, retrieve a concealed handgun, and then shot Officer Johnson in the back of his head 5 times, 2 times in the back, and then fired 2 shots at wrecker drivers arriving to tow the vehicle. Despite being fatally wounded, Officer Johnson was able to push an emergency button, alerting dispatch of the incident. Officer Johnson was taken to Bentob Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. The suspect was an illegal alien who had been deported following his conviction for indecency with a child in 1999, but illegally re-entered the United States. On May 8, 2008, the suspect was convicted of capital murder of a police officer. In addition, a federal grand jury indicted the owner of the landscaping company firm who hired the suspect and had funded his illegal re-entry back into the United States, accusing him of harboring an illegal alien. Officer Johnson was a 12-year member of the Houston Police Department, had previously served as a corrections officer with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, and as a military policeman in the U.S. Army. He is survived by his wife, Sergeant Jocelyn Johnson, who is here with me today, 3 daughters, 2 sons, and his mother. Officer Gary Grider was struck and killed by a car that was driven by Hung Trong while directing traffic at a construction site on the Katy Freeway in Houston, Texas. The driver drove through several barricades and struck Officer Grider and Officer Joe Pilon without braking. The vehicle continued until striking a brick wall where the driver was taken into custody. The driver, Hung Trong, was charged with manslaughter. Additionally, Harris County court records revealed Trong was an illegal immigrant in our country. Officer Grider had served the Houston Police Department for 23 years. He is survived by his son, Austin, and his stepdaughter, 2 grandchildren, parents, 2 sisters, and his wife, Officer Deborah Grider, who's a retired Houston police officer. After the tragic death of Rodney Johnson at the hands of criminal aliens who had been deported once and returned illegally to the United States, the Houston Police Department strengthens its efforts to detect and detain such people. Those measures include the department has developed procedures to place criminal holds on all persons who are subject to an immigration detainer issued by ICE. The department conducts a computer and/or fingerprint check of all arrested persons to determine if they are subject to an ICE detainer. If an ICE detainer exists, the person is held pursuant to ICE detention authority so that ICE can take custody of the person make pursuant to our agreement with ICE and the local United States Attorney's Office, a criminal case presentation to the Justice Department review and consideration. Under this policy, HPD has fingerprinted in the APHIS fingerprint database more than 77,000 prisoners during 2007 and turned over 111 to ICE who had been placed under ICE holds or warrants. Through August of 2008, HPD has done the same on more than 49,000 prisoners and turned over 122 with ICE holds or warrants. This hardly scratched the surface with 400 illegal aliens in Houston. We believe many more have been handled and processed. The police department has also given ICE full access to our jail facilities to conduct any type of immigration and or citizenship investigation they desire. It should be noted that everyone arrested and booked into our facilities are asked if they are U.S. citizens, if they were born in the United States, and ICE officials have full access to our jails and the information at any time. Our department has also supported the PIT-TIP, which is an organization in its infancy created to create trans-border cooperation, the Trans-Border International Police Association. Police in Mexico are under attack. The Mexican criminal cartels have taken over Mexico. The law enforcement officials in Mexico, for the first time in history, are looking to U.S. law enforcement for alliances. We believe if more jurisdictions who are currently doing what we do regarding positive identification and arrest followed a policy similar to ours. We need more. Finally, I must tell you, in my 27 years, I can't remember a time when so much is expected of Houston police officers. In the area of service and protection, our department, like probably every other major department, is understaffed. In 2007, Houston police officers responded to north of 1.1 million calls for service. They issued 1.2 million municipal citations, made 29,064 felony arrests, and 86,693 misdemeanor arrests. We currently have 5,024 Houston police officers. We need 6,500. We're 1,500 police officers short in the city of Houston. Houston Police Department, I'm going to skip over that for time constraints. There should be no doubt that the federal agencies such as Immigration and Custom Enforcement, the Department of Justice, who have specific duty of enforcing immigration laws, should be given adequate federal resources to fulfill that duty and to secure our borders. Additionally, it is critical that our federal government immediately approve significant grants and other funding programs to facilitate local government's ability to strengthen policing initiatives that will help us remove violent criminals here legally or otherwise from our communities. In my opinion, it is not a matter of desire for Houston police officers to eradicate violent criminals from our community. It's a matter of funding and support, and that there is, in this forum, elected federal officials can do the most good. Thank you.